We are Surah 101, Al-Qari'ah, calamity. Go ahead, Margaret, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The calamity. What is the calamity? And do you know what the calamity is? That is the day when people will be like scattered moss, and the mountains will be like fluffy wool. Then as for the one whose weights are heavy, he will then have a pleasing life. As for the one whose weights are light, then the abode shall be hell. And do you know what it is? An intolerable fire.
Okay, thank you, mashallah. Okay. Floor is open for question, comment, observations. Anything? Any comments? Any questions? Well, remember we discussed chapter 99 the last time, and that was the name was the quake, and so matter is shaken from her foundation, and the matter loses her gravity, and then the human being asks, what is going on with her? So we go back to now to 101, and now these all make sense to us, because here God is telling us that this calamity, and this is something which is beyond our imagination, and then God says we're going to be like scattered moss, and the mountains will be like fluffy wool. So obviously, when there is no gravity, that is what's going to happen. And so these bodies that God has created for us out of this earthly material, if you will, these chemical elements that everything is made out of, they're not going to have any weight. So it says, so these are shrunken souls, and then their body has no weight. And then God says, as the one whose weight is heavy, then he will then have a pleasing life. And on the other hand, the one whose weight is light, he has a shrunken soul, and God says that then his abode shall be hell. And then God said, do you know what it is? And it is intolerable fire that God is describing. That's what hell is. So are there any questions, any comments? Okay. All right, very good. So we'll just go on and continue, okay? This is called hoarding. And then God says, in the name of God, the all-gracious, the all-merciful.
You keep on hoarding until you are put in the graves. Absolutely, you will soon find out. Then again, you will soon find out. Absolutely, if you only knew with the knowledge of certainty, you will surely see the inferno. You will then see it with an eye of certainty. You will then on that day be questioned about the blessings you had.
Okay. Very good. And again, have any questions? Any comments?
So I come as Parvez.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So this hoarding, is it about our nature of being greedy, that we keep wanting, and so it becomes a hoarding? We demand excessively.
Yeah, that's right. It's just just people are right, so involved in this worldly life that they think that that's going to save them, and God is telling them, is warning them that that's not going to. It's um, until you are put in graves, and that's the time that hoarding is not going to do any good, and everything will be left behind, and other people will tap into that wealth that he had or she had, and that's what's going to happen. And then God says, absolutely, you'll soon find out. So
We should have been building our souls to have a heavy soul.
exactly.
Instead of having the light soul, we turn out to be light by hoarding.
Yep.
Thank
Very
you,
true. Yep. Anything else? Well, most of the stuff that happens in this world, in this lowest heaven that we are in, with this situation that we are in, is because a lot of people do not really believe in the hereafter, and that's a huge stumbling block for a lot of people. That's not something that occupies their mind, actually. And it says right here, absolutely, if you only knew with the knowledge of certainty, if you were certain about this, if you were certain that you're going to die and you're going to go into the hereafter, and there's an organization there, there's a huge a system that God has created, and that's the real system, and that's what God is telling him. And then you will surely see the inferno. So at that time, people actually see it. Say, "Oh my God, is this it?" It's just too late at that time.
Salam alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Well, yes, Tony, go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to point out just the fact of hoarding. That's something people do just in their homes. People think that they need to move. They think they need bigger spaces because they hoard. People never purge. They don't get rid of things. They collect. Some people may not be as bad as those people you see on that program, hoarders, but it's close. It's like you can't keep everything you've ever bought for 30, 40 years. You got to make space. My policy is 1 in, 2 out. Salam alaikum.
Yeah, I mean, this is hoarding of money, and God said children and everything. So people do this. People think that the more they have, the better it is, or the better off they are. And you're talking about people who have a problem. Okay, they have a problem with just keeping junk, and so that's another issue. But in this case, God is talking about people who are hoarding their wealth. And so we're going to read about it. Okay, there's the guy who has his money and he keeps counting it. So this is the type of desire and lust that they have for the things that are in this world, the worldly life, is adorned in their eyes. Yeah. At the end, God is saying, actually, you will be then, on that day, question about the blessings you have. Okay, so we have given you all of that stuff. What did you do? Absolutely nothing. Any other comments or question, observation on this surah?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam. Yes, Secretary, go ahead, please.
So just while on the subject of hoarding, I think in my mind, the opposite of that is charity, right? I mean, if all of these belongings and money and all this that people are hoarding, then that same effort could have been put towards helping others and being charitable and instead of that they do the opposite. And I know it doesn't on this verse explicitly say that. But if you're going to be questioned for why you did this, then you actually should have been spending it for good instead of just to keep things in your, in your homes or whatever it is, or money in your bank or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, you see, in the case of charity, that God is emphasizing so much in the Quran, is that goes back to this last verse here. It says that you will then on that day be questioned about the blessings you had. Okay, so being able to give to charity is a huge blessing for a lot of people. Some people cannot do that. See, the vast majority of people are people who are the recipient of charity, not giver of charity. Okay, so the mere fact that somebody can give to charity, that by itself is a huge blessing. And so that's why these hoarders are going to be questioned about that. That what we provided for you, what did you do with it? You hoarded it and you didn't give it to anybody. Yeah. So that's what the idea is. The idea that that having that wealth is a huge blessing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum salam, Shakara. Yes, go ahead, please.
My own take on this, you will then on that day be questioned about the blessings that you had. Not just only charity, but these are ungrateful people.
Exactly.
They are very ungrateful. So not only are they doing charity, but they are hoarding all of it and not thanking God. They are thinking the arrogance is making them think that they can do whatever they want and they have nothing to do with God.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else before we go on?
No. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Mahmoud. Yes, go ahead, please.
Peace, brother. Peace, everyone. 8924, we passed that a few weeks ago when we read 8924. I wish I prepared for my life, or قدمت لحياتي.
Yes.
I wish I set forth. So, we are talking about the wealth and all, paying zakat, but this is investing on your afterlife.
Yep.
You do a lot of investment in this world. You have to do investment for the afterlife, by charity, in good.
Exactly.
So that's just, you're investing, you're building this for your afterlife.
Yeah.
We just read the way it's light and weights that are heavy. What does that mean? Basically, that if you did not invest your life or the afterlife, it will be miserable, shrunk soul.
Exactly. Yep.
That again, it's a test. Children and wealth, God always use those things together.
Yep.
Those are a test. We have to always look to please God, as you always say that, mashallah.
Yep.
It was very great, mashallah. Thank you. I did not have an opportunity to say that, but last week was really uplifting, beautiful gathering we had.
We sure did.
That's what, feeding our soul is all about. That's what feeding the soul means.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That was a spiritual uplift for all of us. Yep. Okay, very good. Okay. So we shall go on. In the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, by the era, indeed the human being is in a total loss. Exempted are those who attain faith and lead a righteous life and advocate the truth and advocate perseverance. So, again, God is telling us about this, that, that every era they have their own thing, their own customs and their own traditions and everything. But what happens is every era, people are in a total loss. So generation after generation, it doesn't change. It's the same thing, the same movie. As they say, I've seen this movie before. Okay? And so exempted are those who attain faith and lead a righteous life and advocate the truth and advocate perseverance. So again, God is telling us about be patient. Okay? And if we do that, then we are fine. If we are patient and persevere, we are fine. If we are in a hurry and want a thing to happen fast, things do not happen that way. And this is something that we have to understand, that things happen at the time and a place, and that is actually designed by God, and it's not going to be changed. So at our end, what we have to do is we have to make sure that we are happy with that. We are happy with the way that God has done it, and we are happy with the fact that we are going through His system according to His will, not according to our will.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum assalam, Jenny. Yes.
Alhamdulillah, I just want to also piggyback off Brother Mahmoud. Last weekend, I know our plane landed last week, but I'm still up there somewhere in the clouds. Alhamdulillah, it was awesome. You guys are saving my life here. But alhamdulillah, I want to say last weekend was definitely awesome. We really enjoyed meeting everyone, and just want to say alhamdulillah, Dr. Fazely, for the work you're doing for us. Thank you, sir.
Mashallah. That was great. Yeah, it was great. Absolutely.
Yeah. So one point I got, I'm thinking about now, just the goal of everything for everyone is the eye of certainty. So we got to focus on the eye of certainty. That's where you have no doubt. So at what point do we got to continue we're doing our daily work and we're striving, we're working toward the eye of certainty. Because you got most people out here, you got 99% who do not believe. Then you got those who claim to believe while setting up partners for God. And then you have those on the day of judgment when on that day, they're ready to repent, but it will be too late. So I just wanted to make a note that the goal that we're all striving for is the eye of certainty, and that's when you have no doubt. So where that is in your life or your mind or your soul or whatever it is, it's up to you. So we got to continue to strive. So inshallah, thank you, Dr. Fazely.
Yeah, I mean, colloquially speaking, reality hits them in the face. Yeah. So, at that time, there is no going back. Yep. Very good. Okay, anything else? Okay, the backbiter. Okay. In the name of God, the all-gracious, the all-merciful, woe to every slanderer, backbiter, the one who piles up money and counts it. That's we're just referring to this verse. Okay. These are these hoarders. He thinks his money makes him immortal. Absolutely not. He will be thrown into the devastator. And do you know what the devastator is? God's self-igniting fire. That which burns from the inside. So, and he will indeed completely surround them in exalted column, in extended columns. So, again, you know, all of these verses, they mesh together and they basically support each other. And we've seen it from these mathematics of power on how they're related. But, but it is amazing because, again, God is telling us about backbiting, gossiping. These kind of things are not good. And so we have to make sure that we avoid it. And we just go on a straight path, which is the path of God. And so, you know, this piling up of hoarding of money and children and things like that is not the way to do it. And yeah, the Lord says that does he think that his money makes him immortal? Okay. And I just want to bring this to people's attention that it was a long time ago in the 80s. I remember that Rashad used to like this guy. His name was Herbert W. Armstrong. And so one time I was talking to him about him, and he said that as far as he's concerned, Herbert W. Armstrong is a submitter. And there was no question in Rashad's mind. And at that time, I remember that. And one interesting thing that he mentioned, actually, he said the word immortal has been mentioned in the Bible only once, and is referring to God. That's amazing, you know? Yep.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Yes.
I was just thinking today, as a matter of fact, about, I know everybody wants to be rich and be a billionaire and a millionaire. And then I was thinking today, like, how long is that line going to be at the gates for billionaires and millionaires? I guess the Bible and the Quran tell you it is as hard for a rich man to get in the gates of heaven as it is for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. So I know people have billions and billions, but that line is going to be so long with billionaires and millionaires trying to explain why they hoarded so much and had so much. I just thought that was ironic today that people get this money, and but it's hard to get into paradise if you don't give to charity. And if God blesses you to become a billionaire or a millionaire, you got one heck of a test. Alhamdulillah.
Exactly. Well, they were just saying that last year the number of millionaires in the United States increased by 600. So 600 individuals became millionaires. So you can imagine that, you know, 10 years would be 6,000 and so on. You know, this is amazing. But yeah, the number is astounding. Yep.
And that's the only goal that people have in life, basically, is to be rich. And they don't know that you can get it if you want to, but you'll be wearing that melted whatever. You know, you got to really do the work if you get that blessed like that. So, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other comment, question, observations? Okay, so we shall go on then. And the elephant. Okay, so in the name of God, the all-gracious, the all-merciful. Did you see what your Lord did to to the proprietors of the elephant. Did he not put the plant to waste? And he sent upon them swarms of birds, showering them with devastating rocks. He then made them like chewed up hay. So this is the people who try to destroy Mecca, basically. Okay? And this is what happened to them. And they came with armies of elephant and basically today's tanks, if you will. Okay, that's what the ancient armies that had elephants, they basically had armored divisions, if you will. And nobody could stop it. So like Blitzkrieg, and so this is what happened to them, and God now sends an air force upon them, and the air force is all these birds that are carrying these rocks, these devastating rocks, and he hits them, and God says they ended up like chewed up hay, and that's what happens when people rise up against God physically. A lot of us, we have just rise up against God verbally and by our deeds and things like that. But these guys did it physically, and this is what happened to them. Okay. Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum. You know, in the 90s, when Iraq invaded Kuwait, and that Saddam had all these tanks going into to Kuwait, and there was a highway, I forgot what they were calling the highway of death or something, that all the tanks were wiped out by the U.S. Airplane called the Warthog. And I remember one of those guys that was in the Pentagon. They were, what happened? How did you do this? He said, the birds took care of them. So, so the birds were shooting these missiles. All the tanks were completely devastated.
Yep.
Yeah. So, we have modern day exact same thing. The people of the elephant, God send them birds, and we have today the birds and the tank.
Well, I mean, yeah, but this is you don't have to have Air Force with the pilots anymore. You just
drones. That's right. That's right. The drones. No,
absolutely. Cheaper and deadlier, and you can send thousands of them, and overcomes every ground defense. And so you just drop these little bomblets and make hell out of that place. So this is what's happening these days. And
wow. Yep. Isn't Arabic word daira or the bird? Are they the same word used? They call the yara, no? Here, the same word Arabic here used for.
You mean the drones?
The Arabic word for airplane or a plane.
Tairat, which means airplanes. Yeah.
And here the word is used in God's saying, send dair and ababil. Dair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Any other comments, questions, observations on this? Okay, very good. Shall we go on? There are no questions. In the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, it is cherished by Quraysh, the cherishing of winter and summer caravans. They shall therefore worship the Lord of this house, the one who feeds them when hungry and provides security for them when in fear. Okay, so again, you see the a lot of people, they think that security and provision and stuff like that is provided by us. Somehow, every country has an army. They have all kinds of things, air forces, naval ships, all kinds of things, and they think that brings them security. That doesn't bring security, see? And so what brings security is God who brings security. And if you do not worship God, then you have no security and you have no provision. And so our metrics are completely wrong. Our measurements are completely wrong. Our measurements are erroneous. We do not think the way we're supposed to think, that the way that God wants us to think. We think differently. Okay? Armies and those things do not bring security. Things change. Air forces with planes and stuff like that are useless. You don't want that anymore. Okay, because they could get shut down or something, and then the pilots get captured, and then you go after the pilot and all kinds of stuff. Now you have these drones that are very cheap. They're very small. They have very small radar cross-section. You cannot see them. And you can send thousands of these things. Okay, and as we just saw in chapter 105, that's what happens. Okay, so tanks and those things are becoming useless. You don't need them. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing how things change fast. And so those kind of things would not bring security to you. What brings security is God, actually. That's the one who brings security for you. And that's what God says. He's the one who feeds them when hungry and provides security for them when in fear. So the fear that we have because of lack of security is only provided by God. Okay. Any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Wa alaikum assalam, Anwar. Yes, go ahead, please.
This last verse, the one who feeds them when hungry and provides security for them when in fear, gives us a complete shift of paradigm, our thinking, the way we think, and the way we should go about to think when it comes to the greatness of God and His grace and His mercy and His love for us. I mean, it's amazing how this thing provides so much of information to us all, that this is why God says probably when every ayah is a sign, every verse is a sign, and this is deep, this is profound actually, this verse.
Exactly. I mean, you're absolutely right. A lot of Quranic verses that are really difficult to digest is because it's a complete shift in paradigm.
Yeah.
Our thought patterns have to be changed completely.
Yeah.
Okay, because we are not thinking that way. And then God says, no, it's not that's bringing you security. It's I who provide security for you. Okay? And so 105 was exactly that. When those guys attacked, where was the security? Security was provided by God.
Absolutely.
See, the security in Kaaba is not provided by some government or some agents of that government. That security is provided by God. So when God says, call upon people to come to Hajj, okay?
Yeah.
That was the commandment to Abraham, okay? Call upon people, not Muslims, not believers, people, okay? And we are missing that. And the idea is that, well, if all these people come in, we don't have any security. No, you do, because God is the one who provides for you. If you go along with what God is saying, that place is 24 hours 7 open, and people can go there and visit, okay, the sacred mosque, then God is going to provide security for you. You don't have to do it.
There's so much
wisdom.
Yeah. There's so much wisdom, sir. So much wisdom in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Welcome, Salam Jerry. Yes.
Yeah, just laughing over here. Back in the day, we used to have Quran studies, and we used to go over this story about with the birds. And I used to be like, "Yo, man, the birds are carrying rocks, and they're dropping them on the people." My man, like, "Ah, man, that ain't possible." Whatever. It's just to see how now we got the drones that are dropping whatever over. It's just absolutely mind-boggling to see the references and how they tie together, and just amazing that now the drones are they're like birds, they're like dropping the rocks. It's just I just want to say alhamdulillah, just in tears over here with that one, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically they're toys. Drones are toys. Okay, if you think about it, this is just a new shift in paradigm of warfare. Because see, they basically fly a treetop, they make a lot of noise like a lawnmower, and the thing is that they're full of explosives, so you cannot shoot them down. If you do that on top of your head, it's going to blow up. You see? So it's a mess. But my point is that, all of these things are changing. So those things that, then you are going to spend a, $2 million, $3 million Patriot missile to shoot down one of these things, which has cost $1,000. That doesn't make any sense, you see? So, my point is that the Patriot missile is not the one who's going to provide security for you. God is the one who provides security for you. If you worship Him alone, if you don't do that, you have no security, okay? You can spend all these monies on these things and they don't work at the end. Okay, they miss. So, that's what happens. But again, all of these things, provision, security, all of the good things that we have is coming from God. But as I said, that the thing is that the way that you're thinking is not, our thoughts are not trained that way. You see, then we argue. Oh no, we have to have this. Okay? You know what the budgets are? The military budgets are huge. Absolutely huge. They could feed all the people in the world 10 times over. Okay? But we spend on these things, as I said, in the final analysis, they really do not provide security for us. Okay, anything else?
May I quickly make a comment, sir, about
this
please
go ahead. Yes.
When there are natural calamities around, let's take an example of an earthquake where most of the houses or whatever it is destroyed, but even in that case, there are a few that survive and are safe, and that was God's doing actually. Despite the fact that the destruction was so overwhelming, and yet there were few houses or few structures that were untouched.
Exactly. Yep. It happens in the case of fire, in the case of flood, in the case of typhoons and hurricanes and tornadoes. It happens all the time.
That's true.
That some of those homes are just untouched.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's providing that shelter for them? God is the one who's doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we shall go on then. Maroon, charity, and in the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful. Do you see the one who rejects the faith? This is the one who mistreats the fatherless. And he does not encourage feeding the poor. Therefore, woe to those who pray who are taking their contact rays lightly, those who only show off, and they forbid charity. Okay, so all said and done, again, okay, the same kind of, discussion that we had, the same kind of theme of people who are taking their salat and zakat as basically a tool that through which they can actually show off. Okay, and they're not taking it seriously, and God knows who they are. Okay. Anything? Any other comments, question, observations? Okay, the next surah is 108, the great bounty. In the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, short one. Indeed, we have granted you a great bounty. Therefore, pray to your Lord and do it on time. Indeed, your enemy will be the loser. So God is telling us, don't worry about your enemy. I take care of them for you. Okay? Yeah, so, these are all type of guarantee that God gives you. Remember the ones that you couldn't defeat, God took care of them? Yeah. So we shouldn't worry about those things. Sometimes people think that, well, they got to take care of them, and they have this thing of vengeance and things like that, and that doesn't work that way. Let them go. It's okay. Doesn't matter. God is going to take care of them. So your enemy will be the loser. Now this one is also this second verse has been translated differently in other places. Okay, so I want you to be mindful of that. It's not translated this way. Okay. Yeah. I think this was 107. I think Surah 108. I'm sorry, 108. So verse 2. Verse 2, it says, so pray to your Lord and sacrifice to him alone. Say, pray unto thy Lord and sacrifice. Therefore, to thy Lord, turn in prayer and sacrifice. Therefore, pray to your Lord and make a sacrifice. And worship your Lord and make sacrificial offering. And therefore, turn in prayers to your Lord and sacrifice to him only. So pray unto thy Lord and sacrifice. Okay, so and Anhar has been mentioned that, but anyway, so The meaning that it goes, it means that you have to do your salat on time, as we have been stressing. Okay, so salat has been decreed at specific times, and so they're supposed to be done on time. Okay. Anything? Any other comments, observations?
And Rashad has give to charity.
Give to charity, yeah. As I said, they really struggle with this anhara. Okay. Yeah. But it means really to do something on time. Yeah. Be timely about something. Yep. Those guys that they do sacrifice stuff like that, this is what they think, that somehow this blood and the meat gets to God. A lot of them have that ideology inside their heads,
Yeah, all those headhunters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, al-kafirun. Okay. In the name of God, the all-gracious, the all-merciful, say, "Oh, you unfaithful, I do not worship what you worship, nor will you ever worship what I worship. And I will never worship what you worship, nor will you ever worship what I worship. To you is your faith, and to me is my faith." Okay, so this is something that God is telling us, okay, that this is what we should do with the people who are not worshiping God alone. Okay, this should be a discussion with them. That you are fixed in your position. You do not change your position, and I'm not going to change my position. I'm not going to worship what you worship, and you're not going to worship what I worship. And so, to me is my faith, and to you is your faith. Basically, leave me alone. So an-nasr is the help, or victory is the last one that was revealed, the last surah, as you see 114 revealed overall. And in the name of God, the all-gracious, the all-merciful, and see when God's help comes in victory, and you see the people embrace God's religion in waves, you shall then glorify and praise your Lord and ask for his forgiveness. He is indeed acceptor of repentance. So here again we are having 114 with 3, so it becomes 1143, which is 9 times 127. Okay, so that's the last verse, that last surah that was revealed. This surah is very short surah. It was revealed after Surah 9, which was the 113th revelation. Okay.
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Okay.
Salam, everyone.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please. Yes, Nishat. Go ahead.
Question. This victory doesn't refer to Day of Judgment. It's like during our, like on Earth, correct?
It could be. It could be here on Earth. It could be here on Earth. Yeah. Yeah. But we don't know. I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Our task is to be patient.
Okay. But it's not referring to Day of Judgment.
No. In that place, they have no choice.
Yeah, exactly.
They have no choice. As I said, reality has already hit them in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just have a comment. It's an irony, this surah, in the sense that it's the last surah, but it's talking about the acceptor of repentance. It's the surah 9 where the problem comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it is telling us directly also in terms of mathematics and that, okay, that's the victory. I mean, those two verses out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so clear. It's actually naming that surah. It's called repentance, right? Surah 9.
At-Tawbah. Yeah, At-Tawbah. What's one of his name? Al-Barai is the other name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which means reprieve. Yeah. But anyway, so this is...
It's there again and again. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so this is about this. Al-Masad is the thorns. This is about the prophet's uncle, Abi Lahab. Okay, in the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, condemned shall be the deeds of Abi Lahab, and he is condemned. Neither his money nor his earnings benefit him. Okay, again, this is another hoarder who was the same as those other guys, okay? He will solely burn in the blazing fire. His wife shall carry the fuel. Around her neck will be a rope of thorns. So these are the people who rejected God's message, and they fought God's messenger. Okay, so in effect, they fought against God physically, and this is what happens to them. Okay, so again, this goes to show you that just because you're related to somebody is not going to save you. Okay, because you're going to go back as an individual, and you are going to be judged according to your beliefs and according to your deeds. Al-Ikhlas, so this is purity. In the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful. Say He is the one and only God, the eternal God. He does not beget, nor is He begotten. There is none equal to Him. Okay, so this is a very short surah. A lot of people actually recite this during their contact prayers. Okay, and but again, the contact prayer is supposed to be just the first surah, and everybody agrees on that. Okay. And in the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak from the evil of His creation, and from the evil of darkness as it falls, and from the evil of the mischievous ones, and from the evil of the envious as he practices envy. Okay, so all of these are evil traits that people have. And God is saying that seek refuge in me. Okay. And then you'll be fine. The last surah, 114, has 6 verses. Okay, and here, in the name of God, the All-Gracious, the All-Merciful, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the people, King of the people, God of the people, from the evil of the whispering devil, the one who whispers into the hearts of the people, from jinns and humans. So there are human devils. That's what God is saying. And we should avoid them. And so we went through this last week, and we said that choose your friends wisely and carefully. Okay? Because they could lead you astray. They could whisper into your ears, with the pride of the day of ignorance. That's what God says in chapter 48. They had the pride of the days of ignorance. So we were all ignorant. And so we had certain pride at that time. They could take us back to that situation.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Assalam, yes, Jay.
Just want to go back just to say how profound it is in the surah where they called out Abi Lahab, to actually have your name called out and documented in the Quran for what you did.
Yeah.
It's just got to be, I mean, it's just amazing, just mind-boggling to have your name called out and listed in the Quran for what you did. Alhamdulillah.
He's in bad shape. Yes, exactly. Exactly. He's in real bad shape. Yep. Yep. Very good. Okay, so alhamdulillah, we finished the Quran, and so next week, inshallah, we start from the beginning of the Quran again, okay, and go on. And so let's do the usual 2 Al-Fatihahs that we do. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin.